There was a time when I tried to grow my business, be the perfect dad to my kids, and train like a pro athlete all at the same time. Guess what happened? Of course it's impossible. Why? Because I didn't know how to say no and focus. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erkka Suvando. Some of you call me EJ. I'm the guy who's on social media building a legacy for my own kids and passing on all the life and business lessons to each and every one of you. I've built 3 companies up to 5 million level all by myself, making all the possible mistakes so that you don't need to go through the same headache. Remember the guy who got rich by flipping houses, buying crypto, and building an online business all at the same time? Me neither. Focus. That's the lesson of the story. I used to think that everything good is on the other side of yes, until I realized that the core skill that I was lacking was my ability or inability to say no to many opportunities. This video is all about teaching you guys what I have done to block the noise. If you think about the modern society, it has completely weaponized fear. It's negativity that sells. You go to your favorite news website and look at the headlines. It's all about negativity. What bad thing is about to happen next, and everything and anything imaginable. Since it's all over the place, it's actually super hard for us humans to block the noise and focus on the relevant topics. We only talk about the kids who are exposed to social media and the alleged negativity around there, but I think it's the adults, us, who are in the 40s and 50s and maybe 30s, who are actually suffering from this the most. We don't seem to have the ability to tune out all of that noise and focus on the relevant topics. My late grandmother taught me a very valuable lesson. She unfortunately passed away a year ago in October when she was 97 years old. And I always thought in the past that she was living in this tiny little bubble of hers where she didn't fully understand the world around her. But it wasn't until she passed away when I actually was able to look back and analyze some of those lessons and her comments in more detail. And that's when I realized that she actually was very successful in creating her own bubble, tuning out toxic people, not paying attention to negative news, and creating, figuratively, her own little bubble where she lived. Her own furniture, the view from the balcony, everything that was inside the property was just top-notch, world-class. Of course, everybody around her knew that that wasn't the case, but she was able to look at the world that way by looking at everything that she had as being the number one. So in other words, she was grateful. And I have now lately, over the last couple of years, practiced really, really hard when it comes to tuning out all that negativity. And today behind me, there's a little simple matrix where I'm going to show you what I have done so that you can take the same practical steps in terms of saying no and focusing on positivity and getting stuff done. Because coming back to my intro, that guy who was trying to be the perfect dad, the businessman who grows his business and gets rich at the same time and trains like a pro athlete, that's impossible. What I should have done is focus on one topic at a time, put everything else on maintenance mode and then rotate. So 10 out of 10 effort in one, everything else on the back burner, and then switch. I couldn't do that since I didn't know how to say no, but now I'm better. So hear me out. So we start with people here on the left. So this is my before and this is the after. So I'm going to use red color here on the left. So what I was trying to do in the past was that I was avoiding criticism and I was trying to avoid embarrassment. Embarrassment and humiliation is ranked number 2 only behind grief as far as toxic human emotions go. People are willing to take extreme measures as far as avoiding embarrassment goes. So that was me at the same time. I've always been pretty good at keeping my inner circle very tight and close, but I didn't know how to tune out the negativity. I was way too focused on avoiding embarrassment and humiliation. Hence, my absence from social media until 6 months ago, when I realized that these are the real reasons behind it. What about information? In the past, I took pride in the fact that I subscribed to Wall Street Journal and the local paper. I paid attention to news and politics. I was reading books, and I was following several YouTube channels. And I also subscribed to Harvard Business Review and other business magazines. So there was plenty on my plate as far as information goes. And oftentimes I felt guilty because I didn't have enough time to focus on all of these. Of course, I couldn't get anything done. I wasn't able to go deep into anything. So what is that I did differently then? Instead of avoiding criticism and embarrassment, when I realized that these are true roadblockers for me, for my personal growth going forward, I decided that I'm going to face them. If I'm going to get better at these things, there's no other way but put the reps in. Put myself in situations where I'm subject to criticism, humiliation, embarrassment, and other people's opinions. It's been hard, but it's actually very rewarding at the same time. And now when I'm in front of a camera, I'm enjoying it. And this actually has become a process that I truly like. And when I see the progress in myself, it actually is a self-fulfilling circle. Information. Instead of consuming all of these and feeling guilty at the end of the day, what is it that I do today? So my main channels of information are YouTube and books. And these, with a side note, very selected few. So I'm not going to try to boil the ocean and pay attention to everything. But there's maybe 3 or 4 active YouTube channels that I subscribe to. This is my business content. This is how I get better. And there are books. I only buy the kind of books that I know I'm going to finish. So going from trying to boil the ocean to very narrow niche. And now I can focus better and I can get stuff done I actually learn at the same time. So what does all this then mean in my own life, in practical terms? So when I go from before to after, both in people and information categories, actually, in other words, it means from yes to no. And as funny as it sounds, yes usually is a positive word. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I used to think that everything good is on the other side of yes, but that leads to lots of priorities, which ultimately means that there are no priorities at all. So that's why no here is in green color. So by learning how to say no, what I get in return is focus. And when I have focus, I can get really, really good at something that I feel passionate about. This is why I do this. What about the price I have to pay? Because as we all know, every decision has its price. What happens to me in my daily life if I no longer read the Wall Street Journal or the local paper, pay attention to news or the politics or the presidential debates, or if I don't consume all the possible information? I have to be willing to say no to the fact that I might not be the first to know about what happened in the latest Trump-Harris presidential debate. But so what? Who cares? Because to me, it's all about conviction. The rest of the world is trying to convince you and me to follow their lead. That's what politics is all about. People spend all their time and effort to find a winner. There's a loser and a winner, and yes or no. So there's never win-win. Business is a game where you can have a win-win situation. And that's why I only play those games that are infinite, where I can have multiple parties that win at the same time. But coming back to the practical price I have to pay, yes, I might not know what happens at this minute in my local area or what happened in the yesterday's political debate. I don't care, because at the same time I know that doesn't really impact my life. If I'm completely honest, I don't really care who gets elected. This might sound harsh, but at the same time, if I look at my life and my personal happiness, it's about my health, my kids, and the things that I'm passionate about, working out and business and my family. That's the only thing that matters. And if I have to ask myself, am I going to spend 200 hours following the latest trends when it comes to the news and politics in today's world? or am I going to spend that 200 hours on improving my own life, increasing my own happiness? The answer is very clear to me. Any day, every day, I'm going to spend that 200 hours on myself. And again, if my business, my service is good enough, it will be successful regardless of who the next president is or what the Finnish parliament looks like. Yes, the taxation might go up and down. True, that has an impact. And yes, there are some political ramifications when it comes to local guidelines and things that might influence the business. But the industry that I'm in, it doesn't really matter. So I'm willing to pay the price of not being completely up to date so that I can get my know and my focus at the same time. And trust me, even if you don't follow every single political discussion and debate on TV, you'll still hear plenty about it. There's so much noise in today's world. There's social media, there's print, there's TV, there's radio. Everybody talks about that stuff. So you will be up to speed regardless. That's how I look at it. And unfortunately, we have to say no to some toxic people at the same time. Maybe in our before world, there were people who like to talk about negative stuff only. But now in the new world that I live in, I'm willing to accept the consequences, meaning when I say no, thank you. Maybe I don't say completely no, but I limit the exposure. Those are the tools that I use, and this has been very, very impactful for me. And everybody who's willing to go through the same process, first of all, putting together a calendar, and then following that to the T, turning it into a process, as boring as it might sound, and then mapping his or her own before and after people and information, and then eliminating saying no to the things that don't really matter, don't make our lives happier and better. Those people are on the right path. That's what I did, and I hope you do the same thing. That's all I had today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you.